What you're seeing here is basically a simple hand wash. I'm washing the back, the dorsum of my hands. I make sure that I lather very thickly, and I get in between my palms, on my palms, and this is also cleaning underneath my fingernails. I make sure to get my wrist and clean those really well. What happens is I make sure to get in between the webbings of my fingers on both hands, the back, the dorsum of my hand, and my thumbs. The reason for this is to make sure you get a thoroughly clean hand. This is simple, everyone. Wash your hands.
Here's the old Jeb washing his hands. The reason why I showed you this is because this website here was looking at it, and you can go read the article. You can find it for yourself. But they did a study about washing hands, and of course, there's a lot of biblical principles when it comes to washing your hands. When Pontius Pilate had to make a decision over Christ, he washed his hands and he told him to deal with it. There was a washing of hands and feet in Scripture where they talked about crossing over for a meeting. And when we walk in the world, we touch handles and we touch things. We touch everything. We touch our face, we touch our hair, and we do all of these things with our hands. Okay? They're dirty. I showed you a proper way to wash your hands. That's the physical way to wash your hands. It's pretty funny how the article that I read talked about how they used enhanced pictures and videos to actually see the significance and difference between how people wash their hands. And they actually kind of use fluorescence and things. So one of the key factors that was the few things that were the most infected with germs and bacteria was the dorsum of the hand. Okay, the thumb, all right, and the tips of your fingers, all right. And one of the things that's always just been kind of repulsive to me is those people that go after eating a meal. It's disgusting. And like I said, this is the physical way to do it. But let's talk about it metaphorically. Okay? When I can metaphorically wash my hands of it, you say, I wash my hands of it, I'm done. That can mean a lot of things. It can mean that you're done with doing certain things in your life, so you wash your hands of drugs and alcohol. You're done associating with a certain someone, so you wash your hands of it. Okay? You're done dealing with certain people, so you wash your hands of them. And there's some days I just wish that some people would just wash their hands of me. It's hard for me to look at somebody and not judge them. We judge their appearance. And I don't mean I'm sitting there saying, like, oh, look at this person, da, da, da. But one of the things that I learned being a salesman, a door-to-door salesman, and knocking doors for all those years and meeting thousands of people is one of the things that me and I personally paid attention to was their hands. And I would like to think that, okay, for somebody, there's certain illnesses and diseases out there that could cause somebody to be born without a hand. And I'm blessed with two able hands. I can do a lot with these hands. And so why not take care of them? Why not make sure to take the right, proper precautions to protect them? If I didn't take care of these hands, then I wouldn't be able to caress my fiance the way I want to. I wouldn't be able to work the way I want to. I wouldn't be able to give my dog a pat on their head the way I want to. And that's the physical way of taking care of your hands. In life, it comes to a point that we have to wash our hands of certain things, get up, go out, and find something else to grab our attention. Today, I kind of washed my hands of some certain things that are going on in my life. I've washed my hands of certain attitudes and certain things and reflections that I've continued to reflect upon and try to comprehend. And it brings me to this point. Imagine you've lived your whole life with your hands. You've had your hands this whole time. And then one of them is taken away. Let's say both of them were taken away. Or maybe even, let's say you lost a hearing in your left ear. Or you lost the sight of one eye. Or maybe you got sheared off at the ankles. Imagine that. Imagine just having that taken from you. It would be hard. It would be very hard. And the reason why I bring up the fact of losing your hand or your hearing or your sight or the mobility of your legs or maybe even losing the ability to speak. The reason I bring those up and losing those abilities is to give you a better image of what I'm about to say. People out there, you have a car, you have a home, a boat, loved ones, families, people to turn to. Speaking to a lady, and she said, "Oh, well, if I lost my house, I'd just go to my brother's." You know? And I want you to think for a second that, okay, you've got your apartment, house. All right, that's taken from you. And then you got your vehicle. Oh, you couldn't make the payment. That's taken from you. And now what do? You don't have a family, friend, relative to turn to. You don't have a buddy or, a mother or a father or grandfather or an inheritance to turn to. And you had all of those things, but they were taken from you, and you have nowhere to turn. Could you do it? Could you get back to the point to where you had all of those things again? I'm willing to bet that some of you would never, ever be able to do it. And of course, yes, I know that there's going to be people out there that just say, "Oh, well, we worked for it. We got to that point." That's not what I'm talking about. Imagine everything you have that you find comfort in, that you have, the ability, the ability to go to the kitchen door or the kitchen or the fridge door, open it up and grab a cold soda pop or a cold beverage or a cold pudding pop or a cold snack pack, whatever it is that you like to eat, or go to the pantry and pull out some Cheez-Its or maybe pull out some of those honey wheat pretzels that you like so much. Imagine all that's taken. The ability to go take a shower, to sit down on a toilet and use the restroom. Imagine all those things are taken away from you and you have no way to gain it back. Have you ever been in that experience? I bet you haven't. And some of you have. And so the ones that have been in that experience, they know what I'm talking about. But those that have never been in the situation that me, my fiance, and my 2 dogs are in, they have never been in the situation and had all of those things that you have taken away from you, just like me and my fiance. We've been stripped of these things multiple times. Like I said, I couldn't count as many times it's happened. I need more fingers, you all. Somebody want to help me with those? And that's my point. It's not easy. And yet, I sit here today and acknowledge that these hands need to get to work. I have a job opportunity. And of course, I'm not going to explain to you what it is. I'm not going to tell you where it is and that's why I've got this bland background behind me. But I want you all to know that we are safe. We've put in some travels today. I went to try to rent a car to be able to get to the position that has been offered to me. But because I didn't have a credit card or a line of credit, could not get it. And these are the things that happen when you live in a world full of technology. These are the things that happen to you when you're not so plugged into the system, so to speak. But this is also what happens when you don't do the proper research and kind of put your faith into other things. But I promise you, we're going to get there. May end up having to hitchhike, or I would hate to spend a considerable amount of money on a Greyhound. You know, the way I did it last time, I bought multiple tickets for multiple different times, and it took almost a week to get where I was going because we had layovers and transfers and layovers and new tickets and new tickets and new tickets. Because it was cheap, I was able to buy like a $40 ticket, $20 ticket, $30 ticket, and then it got me to a bunch of different spots. But I was able to do that. I did a lot of research in doing that. I looked into it. And I said, okay, well, boom. And there was times to where we would get to a transfer station, and then boom, 15 minutes later, another bus was leaving. So we had to get all the bags, get the dogs, get on the bus. Here's my ticket. Da, 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 da. And it was a lot. And there was one time, and I didn't do enough research, and it was a complete another day. So we had a whole 24-hour period that I was like, oh. And I thought it was just, it was like a 6-hour, transfer or layover, but it was really a 24-hour layover. That's just a mistake I made. But we are in a hotel for tonight. I got a decent rate. It was hard to get a decent rate, but I signed up for a membership thing to where the rate was dropped about $35, so it really helped out. They actually the hotel here makes pizzas for you. It was that was a nice meal. It was hot, extra cheesy, and they've got coffee on standby, and they do have a breakfast. So tomorrow morning, we're gonna wake up. I'm freshly cleaned, y'all. I pampered myself a little bit, But tomorrow we're gonna wake up in the morning. We're gonna eat breakfast. We'll check out of the hotel and we'll go from there. And once again, hey guys, because of certain things that's happened in the past, you can, until I'm able to do something better, it will be a bland background from now on. It'll be a brick wall, a simple shrub, which might even be something I have to look into, because you could just figure, oh well, this plant grows at this certain place. I don't know. Once again, we're taking proper precautions to protect ourselves. I felt like the money that I was going to spend on the rental car today went towards the room. So, but that dug into our funds once again, and so I'm hoping that once I wake up in the morning with a new breath, a new processed plan, I'm going to take the rest of the evening to process that plan and see what I can do about getting to this position that I've been. It worked out. I called a guy, a really good friend of mine. I had a phone conversation with him. He said, call this guy. Didn't even know this guy. Called him. He said, oh, well, I don't know. I started a new job. I got about 2-3 weeks worth of work. And so I said, okay. And he called me back this morning. And the guy I was talking to, I said, look, he done said that one guy didn't show up. He's probably going to, something bad's going to happen, or not something bad, but something's going to happen and the guy's not going to show up. Well, that's what happened. He called me back. He said, look, one of my guys ended up quitting on me. So he needs me. But now, once again, here I am. I have to make a phone call and tell him, hey, look, when I was trying to get there, I'm not going to be there. And I'm still trying to figure out how to get there. I'm hoping that he doesn't just put somebody else in that spot. It's going to be a struggle, but I will get there. And if I'm not able to, once again, things will figure themselves out. I wish I could tell you guys more about that, but I can't because of people in here. It's okay though. I want to thank all the loyal subscribers. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. We appreciate the comments. If you guys have any advice about maybe possibly getting a rental, I looked on like Turo and things of that nature, but it's all like pick up here, drop off here, which is I screwed up on one rental already, and luckily enough they refunded it to me. But That's another story. I am actively searching for a vehicle. I think today you can't go buy a vehicle for $500. You can't go buy a vehicle for $1,000, let alone car insurance and all that. So it's just a huge dilemma and a huge conundrum. But I love you all. I really appreciate everything. I will be. It's going to be a little difficult to do lives and being on the go, but I will let you all know on the post when and where and how. And most of all, I hope all of you have a wonderful evening. I love you. Goodbye.